Welcome back, my dear students. This is Mahbub Sultanaki, Senior Lecturer of Milestone College, Department of Biology. Today, I will discuss structure of lungs and gaseous exchange, which is from chapter 7. The name of this chapter is Exchange of Gases. The learning objectives are structure of lungs, absorption of oxygen, carbon dioxide transportation. That means after my today's lecture, you will be able to explain the structure of lungs, the absorption process of oxygen, and the carbon dioxide transportation. Okay? Now, I will explain the structure of lungs. Before this, I will discuss about a little bit about the human respiratory system. This is the diagram of human respiratory system. This is trachea. It is also known as windpipe. This trachea is made up of cartilage. Trachea is divided into two parts. These two parts, each part of this is known as bronchus. So this is the bronchus. Okay. Now, when the bronchus is divided and redivided into several parts and lots of branches are produced, these parts are known as bronchiole. Okay. At the apex or terminus of the bronchioles, there are some balloon-like structure which are known as alveolus. There are two lungs, the left lungs and the right lungs. There is an membrane around the lungs. This thin membrane is known as pleural membrane. Okay. The lungs is situated above the diaphragm and in the either side of the heart. So the heart is situated in this middle portion. Okay. Now our main topic is the structure of lungs. First of all, the lungs is the main organ of the respiratory system. The right and the left lungs are situated on the either side of the heart within the thoracic cavity. So, this is situated in between the thoracic cavity. Okay. Here is the rib cage. Okay. Inside the rib cage, the lungs are situated. Point number 2. These are soft and light reddish in color. So the color of the lungs is light reddish and they are soft. Okay. Next point. The right lungs is of 3-lobed and the left one is of 2-lobed. That means the right lungs has 3 lobes. Okay. If this is the right lungs, so it is divided into 3 lobes, just like this. Okay. These are the lobes. The next point is the entire lungs or the entire surface of the lung is covered with a double layered membrane which is named as pleura. I have told you that there is a membrane which is known as pleural membrane. I have indicated here by blue and black color. So this is a double layered membrane which surrounds the lungs. This is known as pleura or pleural membrane. Next point. The space between the two layers contain a fluid. So this is the gap or space between the two membrane or layer of the layer which contains a fluid. This fluid saves the lungs from friction as the lungs rub against the thorax during breathing movement. So when we breathe or we inhale oxygen, the lungs is swells up. Okay, and it comes closer to the thoracic. These are the ribs. Okay, the ribs are situated here. So it saves the lungs from the friction with the thorax. Okay, during the breathing movement. When it expands, it does not get free of friction in the or getting in friction with the rib cage. So the function of the fluid is to save the lungs from this friction. Okay. Now, next point. The lungs contain numerous air sacs, which are called alveoli, small bronchioles and blood vessels. These are the alveoli. Okay. In plural form, it is alveoli, but in singular form, it is alveolus. Okay. The next point is the smaller bronchioles terminates in clusters of alveoli. These are the clusters of alveoli. These are the alveoli. Okay, this alveoli, it remains in a cluster form. Okay. So air can enter from the nasal passages to the alveoli directly. From the nasal passage, the air through the windpipe, it directly enters to the alveoli. Okay. Then each alveolus wall is composed of a single layer of epithelial tissue. The wall of the alveolus is composed of single layer of epithelial tissue. Okay. The alveoli is surrounded by mesh of capillaries. Now, what is capillaries? You know what is capillaries? The thin blood vessels which are known as capillaries. If we want to see the diagram, the alveolus are like the structure of a balloon, okay, which is surrounded by blood capillaries. If this is a artery, it indicates, the red color indicates the oxygen enriched blood, and the branches are known as the mesh of capillaries. Okay. When these capillaries, these collect oxygen, and when they combine together, it also collects the carbon dioxide. The oxygen, the blood capillaries, if we think that the carbon dioxide enriched blood vessels, blood carries carbon dioxide, it will leave the carbon dioxide inside the alveolus, and then they will collect the oxygen. They will collect the oxygen and they will go in this direction. Actually, thus the gaseous exchange in between the alveolus and the capillaries takes place. So the blue color indicates the carbon dioxide enriched blood, and the red color indicates the oxygen enriched blood. Okay. From the heart, the deoxygenated blood enters or coming from the heart, which carries carbon dioxide and release this carbon dioxide inside the alveolus. After that, they carries or they combine with the oxygen and become oxygen enriched, and then leave the alveolus. So what is written here? When air enters the alveolus, it expands like a balloon and later contracts automatically. Okay. When the lungs, the oxygen enters into the lungs and the alveolus are filled with air, it expands like a balloon, but it contracts automatically. Okay. The wall of the alveoli and the blood capillaries are so thin that the gaseous exchange occurs between them. How? As I have told here, how the gaseous exchanges takes place here. Okay. So this is all about the structure of lungs. Now, gaseous exchange. What does gaseous exchange means? Gaseous exchange means the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Okay. These exchanges of gases takes place with the air and the blood vessels of the lungs. Gaseous exchange takes place in two steps. Okay. One is absorption of oxygen, and another one is expelling of carbon dioxide. Now I will discuss about the absorption of oxygen. Before this, I will describe a flowchart so that you can memorize this total process within a short time and you can explain it properly. At first, when we inhale, the oxygen enters into the lungs. That means the oxygen directly reaches to the alveolus. Okay? From the alveolus, the oxygen gets mixed with the blood. In the blood, the oxygen transported into two ways. A small portion of blood transport with the help of plasma, and most of the part or oxygen it transport with the help of red blood cell. That means in the red blood cell there is a compound which is known as hemoglobin. In the hemoglobin, the oxygen with the hemoglobin it get mixed with the hemoglobin and produce a temporary compound which is known as oxyhemoglobin. Then the oxyhemoglobin it carries this oxygen to the lymph. From there the oxyhemoglobin diffuses to the lymph and the oxygen becomes separated from the hemoglobin. Then from the lymph, when the lymph carries the oxygen to the cell by penetrating the cell membrane, that oxygen passes to the cell. So this is the flow of oxygen. So first from the alveolus it enters into the blood. From the blood it transports in two ways with the help of plasma, and another way from the with the help of red blood cell. From the red blood cell or plasma it will diffuses to the lymph. So from the lymph through the cell membrane it passes to the cell. So this is the flow of oxygen. Now I will describe the steps. Okay. First of all, the exchange of gases between the alveoli, blood and tissue, that means to the cells, okay, occurs by diffusion. So to the total oxygen is transported with the help of diffusion. Diffusion of gases takes place. Why? It takes place due to a gas pressure difference. After entering into the blood from the lungs, dissolved oxygen flows in two ways. So when the oxygen enters into the alveolus, it becomes dissolved with the blood. This dissolved oxygen flows in two ways. A small amount of oxygen flows in the plasma, and most of the oxygen makes a loose bond with the iron part of hemoglobin and forms a temporary compound called oxyhemoglobin. Hemoglobin plus oxygen is combined the oxyhemoglobin. From this oxyhemoglobin, oxygen separates easily. So from oxyhemoglobin, when it reaches to the cell, it becomes separated. That means free oxygen is transported to the cell and the hemoglobin becomes separated, then it again comes back to the red blood cell. So the next point is, after entering the blood capillaries, oxygen separates. That means after entering or reaching the blood capillaries, the oxygen becomes separated. It first enters into the red blood corpuscles, and then from the blood capillaries, that means after passing the red blood corpuscle, then from the blood capillaries, oxygen penetrates into the lymph by the process of diffusion. As I had mentioned here that from the blood and blood capillaries, after passing the blood capillaries, the oxygen enters into the lymph. So after that, from the lymph, how it enters into the cell. Finally, from the lymph, oxygen reaches the cell after penetrating the cell membrane. So from the lymph, the oxygen enters into the cell after penetrating the cell membrane. This is how the oxygen is absorbed from the lungs. Okay. Now students, I will explain the transportation of carbon dioxide. It is just quite opposite to the absorption of oxygen. How? The carbon dioxide is produced inside the cell. So from the cell, the carbon dioxide first penetrates the cell membrane and enters into the lymph. Then from the lymph, it goes to the plasma by the diffusion process. From the plasma, it enters into the blood, and from the blood, it goes to alveolus, and from the alveolus, it is forcing out from the body. How it occurs? Now the direction will be just opposite. So it will be carbon dioxide. lymph, it will go to plasma. From the plasma it will diffuse to blood. From the blood it will reaches to alveoli. So the direction of carbon dioxide, flow of carbon dioxide will be like this. Now what happened? Carbon dioxide is produced by the oxidation of food. So inside the cell, the carbon dioxide is produced due to oxidation of food. This carbon dioxide at first diffuses through the cell membrane into the lymph. So from the carbon dioxide will diffuse from the cell through the cell membrane to the lymph. Then from the lymph, carbon dioxide enters the blood plasma through capillary diffusion. So from the lymph, the carbon dioxide enters into the plasma through capillary diffusion. Carbon dioxide is mainly transported into two ways, and as it transported as bicarbonate. With the help of plasma, it will transported as sodium bicarbonate. With the help of red blood corpuscle, it will transported as potassium bicarbonate. So with the help of plasma, as sodium bicarbonate, and with the help of red blood corpuscle, it will transported as potassium bicarbonate. Okay. Now carbon dioxide is mainly transported as bicarbonate, that is by plasma as sodium bicarbonate and by red blood corpuscle as potassium bicarbonate to the lungs. So from the plasma and blood, it will go to the lungs, that means the alveolus. In the lungs, the carbon dioxide is released from bicarbonate. How? If this is potassium bicarbonate, from here the carbon dioxide is present. So carbon dioxide will be released from this, so potassium bicarbonate or sodium bicarbonate. So in the lungs, the carbon dioxide is released from bicarbonate and pass to the alveoli. It passes to the alveoli, from where this carbon dioxide is forced out from the body. That's all for transportation of carbon dioxide. So from my today's lecture, you will be able to explain the structure of lungs at first, then absorption process of oxygen, and finally the transportation of carbon dioxide. So this is all from my today's lecture. In the next class, I will be back with a new lesson. Till then, take care.